Well, there are a lot of things I love about Harrisville Designs. We make great products that I'm very proud of. Our yarns are really beautiful, and we have a great group of people who are working on these products, totally devoted to making sure we have high-quality products. Harrisville Designs is located in Harrisville, New Hampshire, in a small brick village. I guess one of the things that makes us different is that we're a manufacturer. We actually make yarns here, and we make looms ourselves and children's weaving products. Harrisville Designs has been around for 50 years now. It's incredible to me to think about where we came from.
Well, the mill was the reason the village got built in the first place, and the water was the reason that the mill got built. So first you had the water, then you had the mill, then you had the houses, tenements that go along with the mill. My father was the fourth generation of the family to work in the mill.
John Colony was the last president of Cheshire Mills. John was very bright. He could figure out anything, a Renaissance man. The center of the town was the mill, and you could constantly hear the looms throughout the whole village.
Closing the mill had a big impact on my father. I think he felt the weight of not just the business, but the whole town on his back.
I remember when the looms stopped. It felt very spooky and so sad. And I used to see Chick's father walk by, going home after work, and he'd be coming up the hill, and he had lost a lot of weight, just being so troubled and worried about what was going to happen in the future.
The mill closed in October of 1970. I was still in the U.S. Coast Guard. I thought, well, I really wanted to get home and help out if I could with the situation. So I went to see the admiral I worked for and asked him if I could be relieved of duty early. So he said he would endorse my request. So the mill closed, and I was home 6 weeks later. I always thought that it was important to keep textiles in Harrisville because it was an important part of what made the village what it was from the very beginning.
And Barbara, his sister, had taken a weaving course, and she said she couldn't find any high-quality yarn. So I think that kind of planted the seed.
I got the idea that maybe Harrisville Designs would be something worth pursuing. So my father said, "How are you going to start a company?" And I said, "I'm going to get the machinery from you." And he said, "Well, how are you going to do that? You don't have any money." I said I was going to give him stock in the new company that I was going to start. And he laughed and said, "This stock is worthless." And I said, "Yeah, but the machinery is worthless too." And he said, "You're right, it probably is."
When Chick started the business, there were already people in the village who had been working in the mill and knew how to run the machines, which was great. And they came back to work. They were so happy to be back at work after the mill had closed.
Well, I'm not sure Harrisville Designs could have gotten off the ground without that kind of help, so it really made a huge difference. In the 1970s, there was a counterculture movement back to the earth, back to farming. People wanted to get out of the cities, make their own clothes.
Everyone wanted to be able to make something. So suddenly there was this influx of young people, really interesting people.
The early days of Harrisville Designs, people came and took weaving classes from us. So that in the class, people would be singing songs, and everybody was just happy to be there doing it.
We did have some pretty far out people that came to teach. They were really fun, but very expressive. So, there were a lot of expletives and so forth that, you'd think, oh, where are we going now? It was interesting.
Almost from the beginning of the business, certainly by 1972, I found out that looms were actually much more expensive to make than they looked.
Chick wanted them to be inexpensive so that more people could buy them and get into weaving. And so he came up with the idea of selling them as a kit. We were the only ones making a kit loom.
And by that time, I realized it was much more complicated to weave than it was to build a loom. If you could weave, you definitely could build a loom. And so we came up with the idea of going ahead and selling it as a kit. And it was a successful idea right from the start.
People, when they weave a product or knit a sweater, it takes a huge amount of time. And you don't want to start out with an inexpensive fiber that's going to pill.
High quality of yarn is basically the high quality of the wool that goes into the yarn. And so we bought the very best quality wool we could. We tried to produce it in a very consistent way so people could have it from one year to the next. And part of the idea of the business was to make a consistent product that people could depend on year in and year out. Those machines that were built in the early part of the 20th century are still very productive and make as good a yarn as anybody can make. It's important for us to use the old machines because they make good yarn. They've been running since 1924 when my grandfather brought them here from Massachusetts the first time. We could see that there was interest by children in weaving, and so maybe we could simplify a loom to the point where it didn't really require a lot of instruction by a teacher. The first product we made for Friendly Loom Products was a large tapestry loom. We still make it now. And to test the product, I put it in a couple of elementary classrooms in the area. And when I went back after a couple of weeks to talk to the teachers about their experience, one of the teachers said she flipped open more than like 4 or 5 desks in that classroom, and the kids had put rows of thumbtacks in, and they were weaving on their desk.
Most kids love weaving. It's amazing to me. I think we recognized right away that it was important to give children high quality products.
So our looms are made of hard maple. They don't have to be made of hard maple. It can be made of plastic. Our yarn is made of 100% virgin wool. Doesn't have to be. It could be cotton. It could be synthetic yarn. But even the smallest child needs to have the right tools to appreciate what it is they're doing with their time.
At a certain point, this one rep of ours said, "You have really got to do potholder looms." So I kept saying this to Chip. He'd say, "No, we're not getting into the potholder business." And he said, "Well, what would make us different?" I said, "We will make really high quality looms, and we will have a lot of different colors and high quality loops." It took me quite a while to get him going on this, but finally we did it, and it's been wildly successful for us. It's really been a great product. Well, we couldn't have made this business. We couldn't have run this business or created all of the things that we have made without the people that we have here. They have meant everything.
I've always felt that the company can never be better than the employees. So we've been very fortunate over the years to have people who are dedicated, skilled, and willing to work hard at what we do. And they take a lot of pride in what it is we do too. My own personality is I've never really liked watching everybody else work. So, I mean, if somebody's handling, 50 bobbins an hour of yarn, I can't look at every bobbin. I don't want to look at every bobbin, but they look at every bobbin. And to this very day, after 50 years, we still have a lot of talent working for us.
I think everyone feels like we're all part of the same team, and we want our products to be as good as they can possibly be. And they all take a lot of pride in making sure that everything is done right.
one of the pleasant things about Harrisville Designs has been Pat, my wife, and I have worked together, and we've worked well together. And she's been a great partner for the whole 50 years. It's been amazing.
And it's meant a great deal to us to have two of our sons be part of our business and to make contributions to it. The way you keep a business going like this is to have one of your sons come back and say, hey, I want to do this. I'm going to make some changes, but it's all going to be good. And bringing Nick into the business and having his vision, it was a real shot in the arm for us.